Teams around us, we're not quite sure the result at the moment. Latest score from Hanwell was 0-0, and Bedworth, we believe, were winning 1-0. So we should be increasing our lead over at least Hanwell, but on the same points ratio as beginning of the day against Bedworth if those scores remain the same.
And I think all we can do is continue to do what we're doing, which is, yes, we're not going to. It's unlikely we're going to do what we did last season and go through all season without conceding a goal. So we have to give the opportunity, without losing the game. Sorry, not conceding a goal. So we have to just keep doing.
Impossibility.
We just have to keep doing what we're doing and winning games. We will drop points between now and the end of the season, but if we can do 6 games with a win, 1 game with a loss, that's championship winning form.
Well, now Chalfont have lost 4 games, the same amount as the Poppies. They have drawn 7 games, as we've only drawn none, in fact, as we keep mentioning. This record now is 38 games without a draw. But certainly it proves to be a great record. I've just seen our Southern correspondent. It looks like Simon Ward's in the green room there. Simon has been a commentator on Poppies TV at some of the away games, and hopefully he will do so.
He may be available for us away at Hanwell next weekend.
Well, that'll be good, because we are struggling next week for commentators, but I'm sure that we'll get around that one. So that's great to see Simon all the way down there from deepest East Sussex. So
and he's got his young Poppy, his young son in there as well. 3rd game he's been to, so he's enjoying having a look around. But back to the match today. Another, it's what we want to see from the team. There was a lot of good play going forward. Defence. We never looked like we were going to concede a goal today. That match could have gone for another 90 minutes. I don't think we'd have conceded another goal. So,
can I just, while you're sat there, can you just talk me about this hat that you're wearing?
Well, I've noticed that actually. Look, now I lose the top of my head. It doesn't exist, but this is the this is the Kettering Town. This is the Kettering Town beanie hat that's available. Where are we? There we are. £8 is available for, and I can tell you now, it's kept my little ears nice and warm all the way through the game.
We have got some merchandise available through the club shop, and Horace is selling it in the club shop as we speak, or in the bar even. We're getting scarves in next week or the week after, and we've got the hats and
we've got some bags in as well, some satchels.
Satchels.
I think
we're going to school, aren't we?
Yeah, satchels.
So there we go. We're getting some of the Kettering merchandise. We're hoping to get man of the match James Jepson in a little while to give his views on the game, and also manager Scott Machin will be joining us hopefully after they've had a rub down in the players' changing room there. But they must be. He's now dethroned himself. Spider-Man never does anything like that,
It's a bit warm in here now.
Crikey, we're getting all the views here, but yes, a lot warmer in here than it has been. It gets rather cool. It might look quite nice from you viewing at home there, but believe me, the temperatures in this are quite cool. But there we go. So Hanwell Town then next week, Chris, is going to be quite an interesting game. They've lost their leading striker, Lewis Putnam. He went to Aylesbury, I believe, were losing.
And yeah, they were. And what's interesting actually is that you've got Ash Robinson fielding for Clifton at right back, and didn't do a great deal. Didn't have a good game, but he didn't. He's not going to challenge Clifton. Actually, Andy Hall played on the left. I thought Doobie and Claudia did quite well. So we've got 2 good players to come back into the team. So be interested to see how that all goes about. Okay,
looks like we're going to have a couple of guests coming in pretty soon now. I think we've got our man of the match coming in. So let's see if he can spout a few words. I'm sure that JJ, known as Jesus to a lot of our fans, as Chris leaves us, and I can see JJ struggling through the melee of people in there, and he's coming to join us here. And welcome, JJ. Great return to action after the disappointment of Tuesday. Man of the match, and I know your father was saying beforehand that you're desperate to play in this game.
Yeah, I want to play all the time. It's frustrating being on the sideline, but I've just been patient. Scott, has been good to me, and talking to me as well. Not kept me isolated. It would come. Obviously, the injuries restricted, fitness and stuff, and I've been doing extra work, and yeah,
you had a commanding performance from yourself today. There, it really was a joy to see you back to your old form of last season. Really.
Yeah. But when you got good lads around you, I thought Claudio was excellent today. 2 strikers. I was just saying to the gaffer on the way over, Colo's so sharp.
Isn't he a class player? I mean, you've seen him more than we have playing with him at rugby earlier on in the season. But we were saying at half-time and pre-match, what a signing he's going to be, isn't he, for us?
Yeah, he's excellent. I think he did everything but score today.
Well, he hit the bar, didn't he? He did overhead kicks, he's had shots saved.
Yeah.
He's getting like Sandy, who can do everything but score goals at the moment. He's hitting the bar, he's hitting the safe, everything, isn't he?
But, and obviously Doobie scored the penalty, and I thought he was excellent as well. So when you got them sort of players, with pace and who are sharp, it makes it a lot easier to just give him the ball. And
last week I was speaking to Tom Bailey about the surface conditions. We played on a boggy surface last week. We had the 3G on Tuesday and the boggy surface today. It must be difficult for players to adapt to different conditions.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously the pitches, want the best, but I suppose, most pitches in our league, are going to be like that, and that's what the gaffer said to us before the game. It's going to be a battle, and maybe that's why they put me in today, and it paid off for us.
Well, certainly man of the match. That's a nice achievement to have there. James Clifton was up there, and he actually nominated you as man of the match. So obviously the £10 will be going his way
Right, okay.
later on. But no, it's a great performance and a good comeback, wasn't it? Really, and keeps us at least 5 points clear of Bedworth.
Yeah, how did they go on?
Not sure. They were winning 1-0 at. They did win 1-0 against Egham on the plastic surface. So we're still 5 points clear of them. And we've got Handball next week, who were drawing. They won 1-0. I'm told they won 1-0 now. So we're still 7 points clear of those as well. So it's still commanding performance from the Poppies, and against a good side, weren't they?
Yeah, they never stopped. Their captain 10. I mean, Doobie mentioned him before the game.
Headley.
I don't know his name, but yeah, 10. Their captain. He's a good player. They got some. They never stopped, and there are a few tackles put in. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to say too much to get in trouble, but I mean, there should have been 4 red cards on Claudio.
Yes, I put in my notes down here that he was definitely targeted in the second half, especially. I mean, there was one where he's upended, and it looked from where we were to be a horrendous tackle, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just, he's a class player, and I think he was just too good for him on the day, and, like I say, they were a bit touch tight on him, but yeah.
Well, we don't want to get into trouble, JJ. It's great to have you back with us, obviously, and great to have you in the studio. Man of the match again, that's good. Well, not again, but man of the match, that's great for you. And
that'll probably be it now.
No. Scott Machin has just joined us to revel in the banter as we speak. So, JJ, you go and have a well-deserved shower, and most likely we'll see you in about 10 minutes or so for a jar or two in the bar there. So, a great performance there from JJ, and as I said, we've got joint manager Scott Machin joining us now for his views on the game. Once again, evening, Scott. Once again, as you sit in the proverbial chair, it's a win and it's a nice smile. At least when we win a game, you're nice to smile, as opposed to the miserable Tom Bailey, win, lose or draw. He's slumped over, and you think he's going to slash his wrist.
Well, to be fair, if we won, Tom would be the same. So it wouldn't make no difference if where we are. But yeah.
Well, just saying there to JJ, a great comeback after the disappointment of Tuesday on a very difficult surface against a very good team.
Yeah. The way the pitch was today, there was a pitch inspection early this morning to see whether it was playable, which it was just about. So it actually now into the time of year we have to change the way we play slightly, because we've played some very flowing attacking football up until this point, I think, really.
Well, today was quite flowing, wasn't it?
It was, but what we did was we made sure we got them. We did it in the right areas. So I think we've been playing them all around at the back quite well, trying to move people around, and today wasn't the day for doing that. That's too much of a risk. So we were quite direct, but we weren't direct without a point. It was a ball into an area that we knew we were trying to get the ball into, which allowed us then to go and play. And I think I just said in the dressing room that today's wasn't the day for short passing book game or running with the ball. I think the only person in the country that could run with the ball today was Claudio.
Which he did, and
which he did very, very well.
Had a good game, didn't he? As did Elliot, Sandy, and Colo. I know he's
Yes.
not scored, but he's done everything else but score. But some of these layoffs and some of his movements are outstanding, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Colo's played exceptionally well. And he's obviously desperate for a goal.
Was there any thought in anybody's mind that he might take the penalty, or was Doobie's
No,
insistent?
before the game, because obviously Andy Gooding normally takes the penalties, but I made the decision to leave Andy out today. I didn't think it was the sort of game that Andy would influence as much as we'd like. So yeah, before the game I said to Doobie, you're on penalties.
That was done him some good, wasn't it? I mean, it's 8 games since he scored against Royston, I think it was. Confidence-wise, that must be good for him.
Yeah, and you can see it in his game at times. At times, and he's not the most renowned player for passing the ball, but especially at the moment, because he's short on goals, he's actually trying a little bit too hard to get a goal. And hopefully that will settle him down a little bit. So.
Centre backs were commanders today, weren't they, as well?
Yeah,
I thought they did very well.
Good,
Richard Knight on his debut, not a lot to do, but what he did well. And
no, he kicks the ball ever so well. His communication is really good to the back four. But again, I think with Brett Solkin playing at centre half, it's really helping us at the moment because Brett reads the game ever so well, but he's also again quite verbal. And when you're playing just one further back in the back four as opposed to in midfield, it gives you an opportunity to be able to be a bit more verbal. And Brett's been fantastic.
Well, Brett's got a long history with the club. We all know what Brett can do on his day. I know he's a lot older than he was the first time or second time he was here, but a great player on his day, and it was a great performance by a lot of people, wasn't it? I mean,
it was. It was
Robinson
difficult.
Doesn't get many mentions, but he played well, didn't he? As
well?
And
Ash is he's playing out of position. He's not a right back by trade, and because we had James out suspended, so. He did great. He did fantastically well. Sometimes he got caught on the ball a little bit, but that's because he doesn't play there more than anything else. But did really well.
Must be an interesting dilemma then for next Saturday's team selection against Hanwell with Clifton and Hall now available. I thought Hoban in Hall's position was exceptional. Because someone was saying that a little while ago that both Hawley and Hoban both are not quite sure whether they like playing the best, the left or the right, being both left and right footers. So
I personal view is I prefer them to start on their right side so they can deliver balls into the box. So Andy would play on the right for me, and Claudio would play on the left if that was to be the two that were going to play, just because it opens the game out a little bit for you, and then maybe swap them over as the game progresses again, and then they can look to cut inside, because unfortunately when you do switch them, all they look to do is to cut inside. They don't actually want to go out and play the ball into the box on their weaker foot. So I think the best scenario is to start them both out on their natural sides.
So next week we march on to Hanwell Town,
yes.
and they won 1-0 I believe today, so we're still 7 points clear of them, we're still 5 points clear of Bedworth. All we can do is keep winning and keep playing.
Yeah, that's all we can do, and if we can keep performing like we do today, we won't go far wrong. We were very professional, they went about the game very well. I didn't feel at any point that we were letting the game slip, as I have done in recent weeks. It
was a far different game this time against Chalfont than the FA Cup game. We said it up in the gantry there. We were more direct. We were at them at the races a lot quicker than we were against them in that first game. Conditions slightly different. Hard pitch, sunny day, hard. Today, squelchy and. A lot cooler game. Yeah.
After Tuesday's game, I was very disappointed with Tuesday because I felt that. For 35, maybe even 40 minutes of that first half, we just didn't get going.
Was it the surface?
People were. I mean, you can blame the surface, but at the end of the day, I think it comes down to attitude. And we had a few frank discussions on Thursday evening before training. So, and it wasn't me just going mad at players. It was a case of people speaking their minds, and I opened it out to the players as well. And I think that helps sometimes because they all take. I just wanted them to take a bit of ownership for the fact that, it may be not you can't always play the way you want to play, but you should start games better. And we haven't been starting games well enough. And thankfully today they started quite well. So
they certainly answered you correctly, didn't they?
Yeah,
so,
they did. Yeah.
That was great. Just one final thing before you pop off for a well-deserved cup of tea, of course.
Yep.
Jamie McAlinden's injury. How serious is this?
He's got a bit of a strain on his groin. We're being told he'll be out for 1 to 2 weeks. It just depends on how he heals. So we're fortunate that we've got Richard in at the time we have, because we've got the cover for Jamie now. But if Richard keeps playing the way he is, then we've got fantastic competition for the goalkeeper spot.
That's healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, really healthy. Yeah.
One thing with Jamie, he's a young lad. He's got a lot of experience to catch up on, hasn't he? And
absolutely.
As I say, the old adage is that goalkeepers mature with age. And with Richard there, coming towards the end of a career, and you've got Jamie at the beginning. It's a great marriage to have those two.
It is, yeah. And Richard's very supportive of Jamie. He's been at the club now for nearly a month, so it's not like he turned up last week and played. So
Jamie, okay with everything, is he?
Yeah, he's fine. He knows he's injured. To be fair to Jamie, he came to us and said, "I'm really struggling." Now, for me, hats off to a young guy like that who knows that somebody else just come to the club who's trying to get his shirt off of him. And Jamie was honest enough to come and say, "Look, I'm really struggling here." So that's why he didn't play Tuesday night, because he was very honest. So you can only commend that.
Well, that's right. I mean, he could have gone on, struggled, been injured, and caused more problems for the team and himself. So that is great for a young lad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, best of luck next week.
Thank you.
Hammer. We should be there covering that game, of course, and let's hope that's another win. And I will see you in a little while. So there we are. That's Scott Machin's views there on the 2-0 win over Chalfont St Peter. And to finish off the programme, we've got Chris Knight coming back, head of media, to give his final thoughts on the day.
I've got the scores from around the league. There's only
Okay,
a few
far
games.
away then.
So
Chris.
Beaconsfield 4, Aylesbury United 0 in front of 95 people.
Wow.
Marlow Barton Rovers floodlight failure, 45 minutes, match suspended.
Never. Floodlight
Yes,
failure.
Marlow. North Greenford United 1, Aylesbury 2 in front of 68 people. And Uxbridge 3, Rugby Town 3 in front of 102.
Incredible attendances there, aren't they? How do these teams survive on, as we said earlier, can't be wealthy millionaires because they don't produce fantastic players as such, but the clubhouses can't be the answer to everything, surely.
I don't know how they get through, and it's probably... I don't know, I'm only beginning to speculate because, we get a lot of fingers pointed our way as to what we do, but when we've got 587 people here, which is more than double the attendance of the other 3 games in this league here, it explains why we're able to put on performances like we did today, because the quality of players we can attract into this club. And Richie was talking earlier to somebody about some potential future developments with the club, and he was saying at the time, the difference we've got now is that people are coming to us and saying we want to be a part of what you're doing, and whereas a year ago people wouldn't touch us. No. Just before we go off air, I just want to update on the Trust AGM. We had on Thursday night. The Trust Board were voted back on block, so the same people have been in place, but we've got 2 new people joining the Trust Board, which are Wayne and Carla Sharp. Both lifetime, long-term Kettering Town fans. So that's
both
good.
Great head then and with it.
Yeah, we'll be after a couple of weeks. Yeah. Although I don't know how much Carla knew about it. I think Wayne nominated her, and so she's coming along to keep us company. So
and make the tea.
And make the tea, exactly. So we're looking forward to getting those guys on board, and we'll start again on Thursday, and we'll put together our plans for the forthcoming year, because we've had a quiet year because there's the club's sorted itself out again. So now, I think from a trust point of view, the responsibility we have going forward is actually to start to support what the club are doing and actually looking ahead further afield to sort of say, look, we hope with all the goodwill in the world that Richie doesn't go anywhere, but if he does, are we in the right position to make sure we can become a team like your FC Uniteds of Manchester and like even your Borussia Dortmunds at the top, who are fan-owned clubs. And I think that's still the long-term goal for what the Trust should be trying to achieve. So that's our plans for next year.
Well, that's all good news there for the Poppy's Trust. And just so as bringing some more future news, we're hoping to get Richie, our chairman, on for the Royston Town match, but he's away on that one. But we'll be having an exclusive interview with Richie on the New Year's Day against Rugby Town, where I believe we should have final information on the ground situation, either Rockingham Road or the Crescent project.
Exactly.
We do know a few things, but this isn't for common knowledge yet. But I believe that hopefully we'll have some great news in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the frustration for the fans' point of view is that you don't always see what's going on, and we look at the forums and we hear what people are saying, and there's a lot of people talking about what's happening with this, what's happening with that. I can guarantee to everybody that's listening now and anybody who listens or who talks about this later, there's a lot of good work being done in the background for this club, and we are a sleeping giant, and we are going to be back to where we belong, where we need to be. It might take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but Richie's absolutely adamant we need to be there, and everyone who's working with him is adamant about that as well. So it's a really, really good time to be a Kettering Town fan.
And on that bombshell, we'll leave you with that one. It's good night from me, Paul Cook, and
good night from me.
Good night.
Let's get fed up a little.